A significant development was announced this week from the world of stem cell research. Scientists at the Research Institute for Stem Cell Research in Los Angeles and Advanced Cell Technology in Massachusetts report they have, for the first time, grown stem cells using DNA from adults. Earlier this year, researchers in Oregon grew stem cells from infants, but there was some doubt as to whether adult cells would yield a similar result. Now, for more on this and that discovery and different stem cell research underway at Newark-based Stem Cell Incorporated, we turn to the KCBS Newsline. Dr. Stephen Huhn, the company's head of the Central Nervous Disorders, or CNS, clinical research. Dr. Huhn, we thank you for joining us this morning. So tell us about the practical applications, possible practical applications of this discovery.
So this is very important because it represents, continuing advancement of the basic science aspect of stem cell biology and the potential for stem cell therapeutics. As you mentioned, it was demonstrated that they could do this with earlier tissue, and now they can do it with adult tissue is even more reassuring for the technique. And this is something that could lead to new ways of studying the disease itself and provide new insights into how to approach the disease, because you're looking at disease cells, as well as consider replacing those particular cells for a specific patient. So it's an important development, and it just goes along with the continuing progress that we see on the basic side of stem cell research.
When you talk about new therapies being helped by this, possibly being helped by this, what areas are we talking about? I mean, give us an idea.
So it's a great question. There's a huge, huge unmet need and society burden of a number of neurological disorders, not the least of which are things like Alzheimer's and other neurodegenerative diseases, things like spinal cord injury, things like stroke, other rare and congenital diseases that affect not only adults but children as well. And there's a whole range of eye disorders. So for a long time, we've believed that there is a concept of transplantation that works. You can see the progress that we've made with solid organ transplantation and bone marrow transplantation. The last frontier is how do we get the power of transplantation for the central nervous system and for the eye. And when you think about the potential of stem cells, that's actually the cell that's most appealing to transplant into neurological disorders to see if we can create a benefit for patients.
Dr. Huhn, I'm wondering, in the medical community right now, is there a feeling like you guys are on the cusp of something that has never been done before in all of human history, really?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of researchers and a lot of scientists that believe that stem cell therapy, not to overstate that case, has the potential to be a breakthrough and transformative for certain diseases, not the least of which are the neurological diseases that we're talking about. The first phase of any development begins with the basic science, which is the story that you just reported. The next side of that coin is beginning clinical testing. And the first part of clinical testing takes a long time, and it's not quite as exciting because you have to demonstrate that the intervention will be safe in the patient, that it's feasible, that you can do it medically, and the patients will tolerate that. Well, that's actually the phase that we're in right now, in particular at the company that I'm working for, in developing that first phase of showing safety. And when we get through that phase, and that's what we're emerging from now, then we can begin to ask the more complex questions of, can we see actual benefit? Can we actually measure benefit in a particular transplantation for a particular disorder?
And, of course, some of the big headlines this week on this particular story, whether these big advances are announced, is the concern that many have about cloning humans. I mean, are we there? I mean, bioethicists say, there is a dilemma here. How do you look at it?
I think it's a very healthy debate to have, and any breakthrough, any transformative advance in medicine is always associated with controversy. And I think it's great that the bioethics and ethics community are continuing to monitor the scientific progress that we're making. I think it's a very important aspect of our progress. But in the end, what matters most is how we can approach patients and do we in fact have a therapeutic. And I think because everyone's engaged in this dialogue, I really feel like we're going about this in the right way in general as a field.